Welcome to our training on ladder safety setup and use for construction. By the end of this course, you'll be able to recall how to safely carry and set up ladders, recall how to secure ladders, and recall guidelines for safely using ladders. When you move a ladder, retract or collapse all parts, fully close the ladder, and lock everything in place. Carry the ladder horizontally. Always check for obstacles at each end before making a turn. You may also need someone to walk ahead of you to open doors in your path. When carrying a ladder by yourself, put your arm through the ladder and rest the side rail on your shoulder. Grab a forward rung with your other hand. Keep the center balanced. This helps you maintain control of the ladder, so you don't knock anything over or strike someone while transporting it. When possible, ask a coworker for help carrying a ladder. When two people carry a ladder at the ends, they have better balance, control, and forward visibility than a single person does holding the middle of a ladder. This is especially important when moving through doorways and around corners. Both people can carry the ladder with their arms through it and the side rail on their shoulders. Another common two-person technique is carrying the ladder much like a suitcase, with each person's arms down at their sides. Very heavy or very long ladders may be carried using 3 people, with the ladder flat on their shoulders. Inspect the area where the ladder will be used. Look for overhead hazards. Are there overhead electrical wires? Is there anything moving overhead? What about doors? Is the place where you're about to put the ladder in front of or behind a door that might be open, striking the ladder? What about where the base of the ladder will sit? Is it clear of debris and other things that could cause the ladder to slip? And if you're about to set the ladder in a high traffic area, how will you prevent pedestrians as well as workers using the ladder from being injured? You must set up barricades to prevent traffic near the ladder. You also need to assess your personal fall protection needs. Will you have guardrail protection? Is there a chance that you could fall over railings? Think about if you need fall protection equipment, and if you do need to tie off, don't connect to the ladder. Instead, choose a separate overhead tie-off point. Imagine you need to place a ladder in this work area to work on a light fixture. Select the things in this scene that you need to resolve or consider before you place the ladder. There are other rules you should heed when you set up a ladder for use. Ladders are meant to be on solid, stable surfaces, not on top of boxes or bins to add height, and not on top of vehicles or machinery that can move. You need an even surface to set the ladder on, one that won't move and isn't slippery. For instance, some drop cloths and floor surfaces can reduce friction and allow the ladder or worker getting on or off the ladder to slip and slide. Before setting up a ladder on a hard surface, clean the bottom of the ladder feet and sweep away sand and dirt that could cause the ladder to slip. Secure the ladder at the base anytime you must use it on a smooth or potentially slippery surface. Smooth, slippery surfaces include those that are wet, icy, soapy, oily, or covered with dust, wood chips, sand, or aggregate granules. Painter's tarps, loose floor coverings, and other materials can contribute to kick-out risk. Remember to check the feet when moving a ladder from one place to another. Just because some ladders have flexible feet doesn't mean you should set the ladder on unstable ground. If you're using a ladder with flexible feet, how you set the feet depends on the surface. On hard surfaces, the feet should be set horizontally. On soft surfaces, you should plant the feet vertically by turning them parallel to the side rails. An employee was working alone at a construction site installing fire sprinklers. He placed a 6-foot or 1.8-meter A-frame ladder on uneven ground and then climbed up. The ladder collapsed and the employee fell to the ground. What action might have prevented this accident? Make sure your ladder is level. Improperly leveled ladders may unexpectedly shift or fall sideways. Don't even the legs by propping one up with a rock or a plank. Instead, shovel out underneath the ladder and ensure a solid even surface. Another option is to use a ladder leveler, a commercially available device that clamps onto the side rail and creates additional length on one side of the ladder so that it can be leveled. You need to place a ladder so that you can climb onto the roof of a house. The house is built on a hill, and the ground around it is sloped. What should you do to level the ladder legs? Raising an extension ladder can be a two-person job, but one person can raise a single or multi-section ladder by walking it into position using a hand-over-hand technique. To begin with, the ladder should be closed. Position the ladder with the base section on top of the fly section. Block the bottom of the ladder against a fixed object, such as a wall or another person's foot. Check for overhead clearance and power lines, and walk the ladder up to a vertical position. Keep the ladder vertical and move it away from the supporting structure. The next step is to raise the fly section using the rope and pulley system. After the bottom rung of the fly section clears the bottom rung of the base section, place one foot on the base rung to provide firm footing. Carefully lean the ladder against the supporting structure. Place the base of the ladder 1/4 of the working length of the ladder away from the base of the structure. This equals 1 foot or 0.3 meters away from the base of the structure for every 4 feet or 1.2 meters of height. This is the safest angle for extension ladders as well as straight ladders. The next step is to raise the fly section using the rope and pulley system. After the bottom rung of the fly section clears the bottom rung of the base section, place 1 foot on the base rung to provide firm footing. Carefully lean the ladder against the supporting structure. Place the base of the ladder 1/4 of the working length of the ladder away from the base of the structure. This equals 1 foot or 0.3 meters away from the base of the structure for every 4 feet or 1.2 meters of height. This is the safest angle for extension ladders as well as straight ladders. The next step is to raise the fly section using the rope and pulley system. After the bottom rung of the fly section clears the bottom rung of the base section, place 1 foot on the base rung to provide firm footing. Carefully lean the ladder against the supporting structure. Place the base of the ladder 1/4 of the working length of the ladder away from the base of the structure. This equals 1 foot or 0.3 meters away from the base of the structure for every 4 feet or 1.2 meters of height. This is the safest angle for extension ladders as well as straight ladders. The distance from the base of the ladder to the structure is correct when you place 1 foot against each side rail, extend your arms straight out in front of you, and can touch a rung without lowering or raising your arms. This distance puts the ladder at a 75-degree angle. An angle steeper than this presents a risk of the ladder tipping over backward. Flat or shallow angles stress the ladder and can cause the bottom of the ladder to slide out, bend, or break. The ladder must be physically secured if space constraints won't allow setup at a 4-to-1, 75-degree ladder angle. It's possible to set up an extension ladder backward or even upside down. To avoid this mistake, ensure that the ladder's upper section rests on or is in front of the bottom section with enough overlap. 3 feet, 0.9 meters, is the typical minimum overlap for ladders extending up to 32 feet, 9.8 meters. Longer ladders require additional overlap. The ladder is correctly positioned when the bottom section and rung locks are facing the supporting structure. If you haven't used these methods, find a mentor who has, and practice beginning with a small ladder in a flat, open area that's free of overhead hazards, personnel, and equipment traffic. When setting up an extension or straight ladder, rest both side rails on the top support of the structure. They must be equally supported unless the ladder is equipped with a single support attachment for use on utility poles, posts, and trees. Ensure the ladder leans against something substantial that will not move or give away under the stress applied by your weight, plus tools and materials, the ladder's weight, and your work activities. Ensure ladder side rails won't slide across smooth wall surfaces. Stabilizing side rail attachments help prevent lateral movement. Make sure the top of the ladder is at least 3 feet or 0.9 meters higher than the edge of the structure against which it leans. This is done so the ladder does not slip off the support when it's resting, and so that the side rails of the ladder are available as a handhold for workers leaving the ladder to access a higher level. When positioning an extension or straight ladder, how far away from the supporting structure should you place the base of the ladder? We've been covering how to safely set up extension and straight ladders. No matter what type of ladder you're using, it's important to verify that it's set up correctly. On step ladders, there are 2 post-setup checks to make. First, make sure the spreaders are fully open and locked. Also, make sure the tallest point to be reached from the step ladder is accessible from the second rung from the top. Regardless of the type of ladder, all ladder sections and parts need to be locked in place before climbing. Work planning can help prevent conflicts. For all ladders placed in front of doors, make sure that the door has a sign on both sides about the work overhead. The door should also be locked or blocked to prevent entry. When working in areas with equipment and personnel traffic, an unsecured ladder can easily be knocked over by inadvertent bumps. Even if the ladder doesn't tip over, someone may still lose their balance and fall. Barricading and other controls physically separate activities. This protects people from dropped tools in addition to protecting those working from ladders. An employee was working on an electrical locking mechanism at a university outside a building's entry doors. He was standing on a 7-foot or 2.1 meter A-frame ladder. He was knocked down when a student opened the doors. What would have been the best way to prevent this accident? Physically secure the ladder whenever repeated or extended use is expected, and when any aspect of setup and use presents a risk that requires extra stability. Pushing, pulling, torquing, transitioning onto and off of a ladder, or performing other forceful activities could cause a ladder to tip, slide, or kick out. Lash or otherwise secure the side rails at the landing surface so they don't move when people step onto or off ladders. To secure the base of a ladder, screw or nail a 2-foot by 4-foot or 0.6 meter by 1.2 meter cleat to the decking behind the ladder's feet to prevent the ladder from slipping backward. A staked cleat can be used behind the ladder's feet on soft ground. Another method is to lash or brace the ladder's side rails to a solidly anchored object, or directly to the structure on which the side rails are resting. Appropriately rated rope, straps, or wire can be used for this purpose. A range of commercially available anchor systems are also available. Lashings should connect low on the ladder, ideally around the lowest rungs. Stakes can be driven into the ground if there is no suitable structure to tie to. All work at heights is dangerous during lightning, high winds, heavy rain, sleet, or snow. Check with your company's safety officer to determine when work should be suspended. A roofing employee was climbing down a 16-foot, 4.9-meter portable fiberglass ladder. A gust of wind caused him to fall from a height of 6 feet or 1.8 meters along with the ladder. He landed on top of the ladder on a concrete floor. Which factors contributed to this accident? You've set the ladder up and secured it. How do you use it safely? First, remember that most ladders are only intended for one person to climb at a time. If the first climber drops something or falls, any people underneath him may be struck and fall too. In addition, 2 people on a ladder may exceed the load rating. One person could also cause motions that dislodge other people. The only exception is portable ladders that have standard rungs on both sides of the ladder. These are intended for use by 2 workers. Face the ladder as you climb it and also while you're working. Use a 3-point contact at all times. You have 4 points of contact, 2 hands and 2 feet, so make sure that 2 of one and 1 of the other are touching the ladder. Never carry anything that interferes with your grasp when climbing. Not being able to securely grasp the ladder prevents using 3-point contact and greatly increases the risk of falling. Avoid leaning too far to one side or the other. Keeping your belt buckle area between the side rails will greatly reduce the risk of falling. If you find that you need to reach beyond this range, then you need to move the ladder or pick a different tool. If you plan the job ahead of time, you may find that a ladder is not the right solution after all. Maybe you need something mobile like a scissor lift rather than moving a ladder frequently. Don't climb higher than is safe. On a straight or extension ladder, don't climb higher than the 4th rung from the top. Climbing above the ladder's point of upper support may cause the bottom of the ladder to kick out. On a stepladder, don't climb higher than the 2nd rung from the top. And never, never stand on the top rung of any ladder. Determine if each action is safe or unsafe and drag it to the correct box. Remember that it's up to you to prevent falls and injuries caused by unsafe ladder usage. Use ladders safely, as if your life depends on it, because it does. You should now be able to recall how to safely carry and set up ladders, recall how to secure ladders, and recall guidelines for safely using ladders.